Adrian is in a different kind of hotspot today. It's not a war region, but it is also a crisis region and quite dangerous, especially for the people that are trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea from Africa to Europe. Adrian, you are in Lampedusa and you were on board of a rescue ship in the past days. Can you tell me a little bit what you experienced there?
Yeah, exactly. I was here the last time 2023, 2 years ago, when there was this massive peak of arrivals of migrants coming to Lampedusa. There were numbers of more than 5,000 people coming to this tiny island here on a daily basis. And ever since then, Lampedusa sort of went out of the media interest. There was barely any news I read, so I thought it's a good time to see what's going on, to come back. And I reached out to one of the NGOs that goes out to save people. The boat you can see behind me, it's very tiny, the sailing boat there, right next to the ferry. That's the boat I was on, the NADIR, by the organization RESQSHIP. So they go out for, I don't know for how many years they've been doing it for already, but for quite some time, going out, search for people, trying to assist people who need help on the water. So that's what we did. We went out, and less than 24 hours when we were out, we got an alarm signal saying there are people in distress close to you. There's a boat in distress. So we basically went right there. People were already quite nervous, the crew, because the information we got also said that they are on an iron boat. So those are basically these assembled boats, only used iron, super heavy, super dangerous. They can easily sink if there's any water in it. So it's one of the most dangerous boats you could possibly take. And when we arrived there, we indeed found like a group of 30 people in this boat. The team was very professional. They went on a smaller boat, accessed them, gave them life jackets, and started to take the most vulnerable people out, first of all. Two babies, 6 and 7 months old. There were kids. There was a pregnant woman. And the craziest part was they were on the water for 6 days already, without food, without water. They basically left from Tunisia, made it almost all the way to Lampedusa, and then they ran out of fuel for the engine. And then the wind was so strong that for days they were pushed towards Libya. So they were basically taken in this area between Libya, Malta, and Italy. And they were, we first thought, all alive, relatively well, considering what they've been going through. So they took them all on board, but then it soon turned out that not all of them were there. That the same morning, we picked them up in the afternoon, the same morning, 16 of them jumped in the water, saying, we can't just wait here and die. We'll try to swim. We'll try to find another way. So basically the celebratory mood, thinking everybody's alive, changed completely. We still decided to go back to Lampedusa to basically bring them back. They still needed medical attention. They had a lot of fuel burns, for example. They were, of course, malnourished. The pregnant woman was a big concern because she hasn't felt her child moving for more than a day. But then as we left, 30 minutes later, suddenly we heard screams.
Yes.
Then we saw people in the water shouting, help me, I'm dying, we're dying, get us out. And then the people on the boat noticed, wait, these are our friends that went in the water the very same morning. So they literally saw them in the water there. The crew also reacted super fast. Initially you could see like people were also sort of panicking. What do we do first? I was panicking. I also thought like, I don't want to film here now. Only like, can I help somehow? But they're a proper team. They know much better what to do. So in the end, they managed to get 12 people out. There was first huge celebrations on board because a lot of people never thought they would never see their friends again, and they did. But then later turned out 4 were still missing. Apparently, according to eyewitnesses, 1 drowned. So 3 were still missing, and then we started searching with the boat. There was another civilian rescue boat coming to help, and there was another civilian airplane from an NGO, German NGO, coming also to look for those missing people. There was not a single state institution or boat coming to help, or plane. That was quite shocking to me. I mean, with a clear case that somebody might urgently need assistance, somebody might die, I would have really expected that there would be some sort of state support. Nothing. they really try to, I was in the control room with them, and they tried to contact the Libyan authorities, the Maltese authorities, and the Italians. The Italian ones at least answered. The ones in Libya and in Malta just didn't pick the phones. So they called the emergency numbers there for people in distress at sea. Nobody picked these calls, and that was quite shocking to me.
Especially when you think about the fact that there's cooperations going on between Europe and Tunisia and Libya to strengthen their rescue missions, their state rescue missions, but there was only NGOs, nobody from any state institution helping. Yeah, what do you think is behind it? Do they really not have the capacities? Do they not care? Or what is happening there?
Hard to say. I mean, from a perspective of most NGOs, they're basically saying the Libyans don't care. They take a lot of money from the European Union. They kind of push back as many boats as they can, throw the people in the desert, but then the people, most of the time, they will just try again, right? I mean, if you've made it all the way to Libya coming from West Africa, all these people on the boat were from West Africa, it's quite unlikely that you would just give up and go back. You will probably try again. So, yeah, I can understand the frustration, certainly, of the NGOs, that it doesn't really look like the Libyan Coast Guard is interested in saving lives there. It looks like they're interested in pushing back people, and if some pass, who cares?
Now there's also the criticism from the other side sometimes that these NGOs, they create a so-called pull factor, they call it, that if there's a lot of rescue ships on the sea, more human traffickers or more migrants will try to make it. I remember, I think we were both visiting the former head of the UN mission in Libya, a German diplomat, Martin Kobler. And I was surprised, it's already almost 10 years ago, and he said he was quite critical regarding these rescue missions. He said, yeah, they've become almost like a taxi service for the migrants. What do you think about this kind of criticism? If there's more rescue ships, there's also more people trying to make it across the Mediterranean.
Very tough one as well. I mean, I put that question also to the NGO I was with, and I mean, they said that is not the truth at all. There's no scientific backup to this theory that people really jump on a boat because they know they will be rescued. I think, I mean, you can't put the argument totally down, but I don't think it has as much strength as the example you just said, a taxi service. I mean, I find that a super ridiculous statement. Remember, you have, like, these guys are volunteers. Like, they're donating a lot of money. They're donating a lot of their personal time. They all have normal jobs. And they come here for a month to save people going through really horrible things. I mean, the stuff that I have seen yesterday, and I'm still shocked about, they see that almost on a daily basis when they are. They see people dying, and they still try to do what they're doing. I really admire that, and I find it quite unfair to criticize them. And to be frank, if they weren't in the water that day, these 12 people who were already inside the water, they would most certainly be dead. Nobody would have helped them.
Now, what about Italy? Because you said they answered at least the emergency call. I know the government of Meloni is also quite critical and try to reduce the numbers of migrants, but they accepted the ship in the harbor, right? And they even provided some degree of help in this case.
Well, some degree of help, not in terms of searching for the ones that were missing, but later on they sent one of their boats towards us because there were medical cases on board, particularly the pregnant women, and also the small children, also the babies had fuel burns. So they basically sent a big boat to take them on board because they are much faster and bring them to a hospital then. The good news is the next day we learned that the pregnant lady, her child is fine. So that was really a relief for a lot of people. But yeah, they're doing some things, but they could certainly do much more. And you can see the direction the Meloni government tries to go also in terms of the private sea rescue missions of NGOs. The boat that I was on, that was their first missions after they were down for 3 weeks. Basically, they were blocked by the authorities to go out again. Then right next to it, we turn it a bit over here, this small blue ship, the Aurora. It's from Sea-Watch, another German NGO. They've been here for about a week. They're also not allowed to leave. They always look for like the NGOs say for bureaucratical reasons to stop them doing their job. And in the end of the day, that means less ice on the Mediterranean. People know less what's going on there, and most likely more people die there, and nobody knows of it. I mean, the numbers are incredible. Thousands died in the past years. This has been going on for so many years. This year, already 800 dead people, and it seems Europe has no solution to it. That's what I find most frustrating. I mean, obviously, the sea rescue is also not a solution. Helps a lot of people, saved a lot of lives, but it doesn't solve this whole problem. People still die more or less on a daily basis, and it's a shame that this is not on the top of a political agenda. It seems on the top of the agenda is just to get your own political points right, pretend you're selling your migration policies in that way or the other, but nobody seems to have a real conclusion and a real deal how to solve this problem.
Nobody really tries to touch this problem. Yeah, and like you said, it's been there for so many years. I wrote even a book on this topic 5, 6 years ago, and it feels there has been no progress. There have been no solutions, and for at least for 10 years, when it really started to go up with the numbers, people are talking about it, or talking about all the deaths. It's also quite hypocritical. Then on the other side, Europe has criticized Trump a lot with a border, with a wall to Mexico, but what Europe is doing at its external borders is also really a shame. So yeah, I think maybe we can speak about this during another call again. Also, what concepts are there to really maybe
Yeah.
find solutions to this horrible situation? My last question is more concrete. What about the people that were on board? Do you know anything about their personal backgrounds and what's going to happen now? Can they try to ask for asylum in Italy, or what is probably going to happen there?
Yeah, certainly, I assume they will all try to ask for asylum, but they are all from West African countries. So, I mean, I'm not an expert, but I don't think their chances are very big. But who knows? I mean, that's what they will try. They will most likely just stay one day here in Lampedusa. This is like a very interesting place, one of the strangest places we have been to. I mean, if I show you over here you see the beautiful port of Lampedusa with all these tourist boats. There's the whole island is full with tourists. Right next to us, here has the Coast Guard. And when we came into the harbor today, the boat packed with migrants, really suffering. We had like tons of boats coming our direction with people sunbathing on them. So it's like a place full of contrast, but they just usually spend 1, 2, 3 days here. There's like a hotspot, it's called like this, run by the Red Cross, where they're basically treated, see if they are right. But then the asylum process goes on in the mainland or on Sicily, so they're brought there by ship. That's why you don't really feel like there's a massive immigration problem in Lampedusa at all. But if you look at the port and you see boats coming at least, I'd say, once a day, then you know there's still a big problem going on here.
Sounds like what you've experienced in the past days. It's really almost movie-like with all the things that have been happening. I hope you can have a little bit of time now to relax. It's been really, really interesting to talk to you, to hear your experiences, and it's not going to be it's not the last time that we speak about this big issue of migration. And yeah, thanks a lot for taking your time. Have a hopefully nice evening in Lampedusa, and we speak again soon.